The silence of the spotlight. They say the brightest stars burn out the fastest, but they never tell you about the ones who choose to stop burning. I was the girl on every screen, the name in every headline, and the person most alone in a room full of people. I didn't just disappear, I committed the ultimate act of rebellion in a world that demanded my soul. I chose myself. This isn't a story about a missing person. It's a story about finding the one person I was never allowed to be. The penthouse overlooked Manhattan, a glittering cage of glass and steel that cost more than my parents' first 3 houses combined. I stood at the window, watching the yellow cabs crawl like ants below, clutching a cold cup of coffee I'd forgotten to drink. I was 24, a household name, and I felt like a ghost inhabiting a mannequin. The breakout role everyone talked about had been a golden ticket that slowly turned into a lead weight. Every time I walked outside, the air felt thin, squeezed by the lenses of a dozen cameras. They didn't want me, they wanted the character I played, the polished version of humility that sold perfume and streaming subscriptions. When I tried to speak about the crushing weight of the anxiety, the suffocating panic that made my hands shake before every action, my management just called it charming nerves. "You're the girl who has it all," they'd say during junkets. But all felt like nothing when I couldn't remember the last time I'd slept without the help of a pill or a prayer. The project that was supposed to be my game changer, the prestige drama that would cement my legacy, felt like a death sentence. I was drowning in the expectations of people who only saw me as an asset on a balance sheet. Then came the night of the premiere. I was draped in silk, my face painted into a mask of perfection. But as I stood in the wings, hearing the roar of the crowd, I realized I couldn't breathe. I didn't want the applause. I wanted the silence. But silence is a dangerous thing in Hollywood. It's the one thing they can't control, and they were about to find out just how loud my silence could be. The headlines the next morning weren't about my performance. They were about the empty seat in the theater. I hadn't just walked out, I had walked away. I stopped posting. I stopped answering. I let the phone vibrate on the marble counter until the battery died, a digital heart finally ceasing to beat. My management team scrambled, releasing sterile statements about mental health breaks to protect the stock price of my career. But the public didn't want the truth, they wanted a tragedy. Rumors started swirling like vultures: secret marriages, mysterious illnesses, a breakdown in a grocery store. They couldn't imagine a woman simply deciding she had enough. I moved to a small town in the Pacific Northwest, a place where the rain washed away the scent of expensive hairspray in desperation. I lived under my mother's maiden name in a house that smelled of cedar and old books. For the first time in a decade, I wasn't her. I was just a woman buying eggs at 7 a.m., unmasked and unbothered. Yet, even in the quiet, the echoes of the industry followed me. I'd see my face on an old magazine in a waiting room, a relic of a past life. I watched as they tried to replace me, casting the next her, a younger girl with the same desperate sparkle in her eyes. I felt a pang of pity, not for myself, but for the girl I used to be, the one who thought her worth was measured in likes and box office returns. But I wasn't just hiding. I was planning. Because while the world was busy speculating on my downfall, I was building a foundation they could never touch. A year into my disappearance, I sat down with a journalist I actually trusted, not a tabloid shark, but someone who knew the value of a story that wasn't for sale. We met in a dimly lit diner, the kind where the coffee is burnt and nobody cares about your cheekbones. "Why now?" he asked, his recorder humming between us. "Because the mystery is more exhausting than the truth," I replied. I told him about the diagnosis, the clinical reality of the mental health condition I'd been hiding behind designer smiles. I spoke about the shocking truth that fame isn't a gift, it's a loan with a predatory interest rate. I wasn't looking for sympathy. I was seeking justice for the girl they had tried to break. Every word felt like a brick being removed from my chest. I explained that my vanishing wasn't a tragedy, it was a tactical retreat. I had reclaimed my time, my mind, and my future. When the interview hit the internet, the reaction wasn't what my old team expected. There was no mockery. Instead, there was a collective gasp of recognition. Thousands of people, single moms working 2 jobs, teachers at their breaking point, students drowning in pressure, saw themselves in my disappearance. My quiet revenge wasn't a scandal, it was a mirror. The industry expected me to crawl back, begging for a second chance. But they didn't realize I'd already moved on to a game they didn't know how to play. Today, I wake up to the sound of the wind, not an alarm set by an assistant. I still work on my craft, but now it's on my terms, independent projects, writing, things that feed my soul instead of the machine. My career as the world knew it is over, and that is the greatest victory I've ever won. The quiet revenge is this: I am happy, and they can't claim credit for it. I am healthy, and they can't sell the cure. I didn't need the spotlight to exist, the spotlight needed me to stay relevant. People still comment on old photos, asking when I'm coming back. They don't understand that I never left, I just moved to a better neighborhood, the one inside my own head. My story is a reminder that you are allowed to walk away from a table where respect is no longer being served. You are allowed to be missing if it means you are finally found. I look at the girl in those old TV clips, and I wish I could tell her it's okay to let the fire go out. Because once the smoke clears, you can finally see the stars for what they really are: distant, beautiful, and perfectly fine on their own. I've found my peace. Have you? Let me know in the comments if you've ever had to disappear just to survive.
Every note is aching, every word unfolds. This lonely rhythm, it's the one I hold. It's you I'm missing, can't leave you behind.